So how do you make your family members relax and be ready to record and share their memories in an authentic way? In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about ways that you can help them do that. And that starts with the planning stages through to the actual day of the recording. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Nicola from Moving Memories. I help people create videos of their life stories and memories so that they're not lost or forgotten. I started this channel to help you with tips, ideas and inspiration so that you can start to save your own stories. In today's video, we're going to cover tips on how to interview family members and make them feel relaxed so that the video story they produce is authentic and easy to watch. The first tip I want to share with you is the preparation that you should do before the shoot. So before the actual day that you're going to sit down with your family member or your loved one, make sure that you have spent some time with them talking about the things that you're going to cover. You might want to create a little timeline together and say these are the areas that we're going to talk about, so that they're aware of what's coming up and they won't get too many surprises. The really important thing is that you listen to them. So explain that in the planning stages, say that it's their, so that they know it's their story. They will be in the driving seat. You'll find that they will relax more and be more open to share their story when they know that they are in the driving seat. Tip number 2, try not to push any sensitive topics that they don't want to talk about. So, for example, there may be parts of their life that they are not overly keen on sharing. We all have memories and parts of our lives that perhaps are quite sensitive and very personal to us that we may not want to share on camera. You might find that they'll share them off camera and that's fine, but if they don't want to share anything in particular, don't push that because it will just put them off the whole thing. So I highly recommend be aware of any sensitive topics. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It all helps me keep the channel going and I can then keep giving you some tips and ideas on saving your family memories. Tip number 3, use triggers to prompt them with their memories. It might be a photo album perhaps, or you might remind them of a certain event that happened. The other thing to do is to get them to talk about how they felt when that event was happening, or how they felt in a particular photograph that you show them. The memories are not just about the dates and times, but about the feelings and the life experiences that they had during those times. Tip number 4, share some life story interview questions with them ahead of time. It's better for them to be a little bit prepared. You don't want to share everything with them that you're going to ask because you do want some things to be answered off the cuff. But I have a list of 30 life story interview questions that I share with my clients, and I'm happy to share that with you. There's a link in the description where you can sign up to receive that list. And I'll also throw in a PDF on 10 camera confidence tips, which are useful tips for you to use during the interview as well. Tip number 5, remember to be sensitive and kind during the interview. So sometimes people will get a little bit emotional when they're sharing stories from their past. So if somebody is feeling emotional, they may not want to continue recording for that period. So just turn the camera off, let them recover from that piece of their life that they've shared, and then pick it up again when they're ready. It's always worth asking them if they are comfortable to continue. You may need to take a little break. So remember to be sensitive to their needs, and then they will find it much easier to share their story. The next tip is try not to interrupt their storyline. Some people are tempted to say, oh no, it didn't happen that way. Like if you've got a daughter or a son or someone else in the family in the room, they're tempted to sort of interrupt and say, oh no mum, that didn't happen that way, you've remembered it wrong. Try not to do that. If you are interviewing a family member and you know the event, if they are sharing it, they're sharing it from their perspective. So try not to interrupt them and give your perspective. You can do that in your own story, but try not to interrupt their story. The next tip is about the camera position. So when you're interviewing someone, it's quite a good idea to have them sitting just to the right of the camera. So instead of looking into the lens, which I'm doing now because I'm talking directly to you, they might be looking slightly off camera, so they're talking to a person who's standing next to the camera and not directly into the lens. That will give a much more conversational feeling to the film. Remember also when you are recording that it's a good idea to sort of nod and smile as they are telling you their story. You don't want to interject with any commentary because it's their voice only that you want, but just so that they know that you are actually listening and that it is being recorded, just give them that reassurance by nodding and smiling at appropriate times. The next tip is for those people who are reluctant to share their story. Some people say, oh, I don't want to share my story, I don't have anything exciting to share, or they just might feel that they're not important enough to share their story. These things often come up with our older generation. They think that only famous people share their stories, for example. So we want to make sure that they understand there are some benefits, huge benefits to sharing their story. For example, our younger generation it is known to help our younger generation understand where they're going when they understand their past. It's a really important part of their growth and development. You could also show them some life stories already captured on video. You can go to my website movingmemories.nz and have a look at some client life story videos on there, and you'll see how lovely it is to see someone sharing their story and the way that they felt about those events and times in their lives. Remind them as well that our older generation don't have that digital record of their lives like our younger generation do. So it's important to save their stories now, because once they have gone, the stories will be gone as well, and you want to be able to pass them on. The next tip for interviewing family members is to remember that you don't have to be in the same city as they are. Of course, since COVID-19, we're all very familiar with Zoom and all those video interviewing options that are available to us now. So you can actually record stories with family members all around the world and then collate them into a beautiful family memoir. I can also help you with that if you would like someone to be the interviewer and manage it from one central point. That's a really good way to do it. For example, I have a family in Australia whose story I'm going to capture through 3 different interviews, one with the daughter and son, and one with the parents, and one with the grandparents. So they're all in different locations, but we will film each of them using an online video conferencing. I don't actually use Zoom, I use another video recording software platform that has much crisper footage, and I will interview each of those different people and then edit it all together so that it's a lovely story with clips from each of them included. The last tip I'd like to share with you is, if you find that a person really doesn't want to be on video, try to persuade them to at least give you an audio recording, and that will mean that you can add photographs, other memorabilia that they have. You could perhaps do some recording over the shoulder so that they're not having to look or speak into the camera. You could perhaps have them working in the garden or doing some baking, whatever they feel comfortable with sharing with you. So you can just have snippets, kind of fly on the wall, I suppose, or documentary style, so that you've still got a record of their story and they will be able to share that with you in audio form, and you can put together some footage that includes still images, a little bit of video, and it will then at least give you that record of their life story. So do you have any tips that you would like to add to this list of ways to make your family more comfortable when you're interviewing them on video? I'd love to know. Drop them into the comments below if you have got some tips to share. And of course, if you like this video, please like it and share it and subscribe to the channel. Every subscription helps, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.